Hi, everyone. Welcome back to English Talk Podcast. I'm Sandra, and in today's episode, we're doing something really fun, something we all do. We're going out to eat.
Yeah, it's a great topic.
Exactly. So you're going to learn all about how to order food, how to ask questions, and just, talk naturally in English when you're at a restaurant.
And don't miss today's special segments, our takeaway language and fluency builder phrases. These are like super practical, you can use them right away in real life. So yeah, let's get started.
So, okay, let's kick things off with, that very first moment when you walk into a restaurant. You've just arrived and a host or maybe a server will greet you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, they're going to say a few common things that you'll hear pretty much every time. Like they might ask, "Hi, how many in your party?" Or they could ask, "Would you like a table or a booth?" And a really common one, of course, is, "Do you have a reservation?"
Right. And it's good to know how to respond to those. So if they ask how many in your party, you can just simply say, "Table for two, please." Or if you have a reservation, you'd say, "We have a reservation under," and then you just add your name.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't have one, which, happens a lot, you could just say, "No reservation." And then you'd ask, "Is there a wait?" Just to, get that information.
Mm-hmm. And for our fluency builder, to sound even more natural, instead of just a super short answer, you could try something like, "Hi, we'd like a table for three, please." It just adds a little bit more politeness.
Yeah, it smooths it out a bit. Or if you have that reservation, instead of just your name, you could say, "Yes, it's under Maria," for instance. Makes it flow better.
Definitely. And if you don't have a reservation, a really good way to ask is, "We don't have a reservation, but is anything available?" It's just a little bit more, conversational, a little less abrupt.
Right. It's all about making it sound like you're just naturally speaking English, not like you're just reading from a textbook. So, okay, once you're seated, they bring you the menu. There are a bunch of useful things you can say when you're looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, sometimes you just don't know what to pick, or you want to know what's really good there.
Exactly. So for our takeaway language, you could just simply ask, "What do you recommend?" That's a classic. Or if you're curious about what's new or what's, special for the day, you can say, "What's today special?"
Mm-hmm. And I always ask this one, "Can I see the drinks menu?" Because sometimes it's not, automatically just given to you. So it's good to know how to ask for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And for our fluency builder, to sound, a bit more natural when you're asking about the menu, instead of just a blunt, "What do you recommend?" you could say something like, "What do people usually order here?" It's a little more conversational.
Oh, I like that. Or if you're really, just undecided, you could say, "I'm not sure what to get. Any suggestions?" That opens it up for them to help you out.
Right. And then, for those of us who maybe don't like too much spice or maybe love it, you can ask, "Is this dish spicy?" Just to get an idea of, what you're getting into.
Exactly. And honestly, remember, it's totally okay to ask questions about the menu. That's what the servers are there for. So don't be afraid to just, clarify anything you need to.
All right. So you've looked at the menu, you've asked your questions, you've, figured out what's spicy and what's not. Now it's time to actually place your order, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun part. You gotta tell them what you want.
Exactly. So when you're ready to order, here's some really useful phrases for our takeaway language. You can simply say, "I'd like the chicken sandwich, please." Or, "I'll have the pasta." Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, super clear, very direct. You don't want to overcomplicate it. Just tell them what you want. And I think that "please" at the end, that's crucial. We're going to talk more about that for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And, sometimes you want to customize things a little bit, right? So you can ask, "Can I have it without onions?" Or could I get that with no pickles? Whatever your preference is.
That's so important because, I mean, everyone has like those little things they don't like, right? Like, I'm definitely a no onions person myself. So, knowing how to like clearly state that without being, rude is key.
Totally. And for our fluency builder to kind of, speak a bit more smoothly, instead of just a blunt, I'd like the chicken sandwich, you could say, I'll go with the grilled salmon. It just flows a little bit more naturally.
Yeah, it sounds a bit more casual, a bit more like how you'd actually talk. And what about if you want like a side swap? Like, say you don't want fries, you want a salad.
Oh, that's a great one. You can ask, can I get a side salad instead of fries? Or maybe you're really hungry. Can I get extra mashed potatoes instead of fries? Whatever it is.
And sometimes, you're mid-meal and you just need something extra, like napkins, right? Or another fork.
Yeah, exactly. You can say, can we get some extra napkins? Or, could we get a clean fork? Again, just keeping it simple but polite.
And that's really my tip for this whole section, actually. And for, I guess, going to a restaurant in general, Adam. Always, always say please and thank you. It just, it makes a huge difference in how you're perceived. And it's good manners, right?
It is. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. So you've ordered, you've eaten a bit, maybe your meal's arrived, but then, maybe you need something else, right? Like what happens if you're halfway through your delicious veggie burger and you're like, oh man, I really need some ketchup for these fries.
Happens all the time, right? Or like your drink is empty and you're just like, oh, I'm so thirsty.
Exactly. So what do? I mean, you don't just like wave your arms wildly, do you?
Well, I mean, you could, but it's probably not the best approach, Adam. For our takeaway language, to get someone's attention politely, you can start with a simple, excuse me, can I get some water? Or, excuse me, can I have some ketchup? Just, make eye contact, say excuse me, and then ask for what you need.
Yeah, I think that excuse me is just it's so helpful, isn't it? It just kind of, signals, hey, I need your attention, but I'm being polite about it.
Definitely. And then, if you want to sound even more natural, more conversational, like for our fluency builder, you could say something like, sorry to bother you, but could we get more water? It just adds that little bit of extra politeness.
Oh, I like that. Sorry to bother you. That really, it softens it, doesn't it? Because sometimes you might feel like you are bothering them, even if you're not. So it's just a nice way to phrase it.
Exactly. It's just good manners. And then, eventually your meal is done and it's time to pay. What about asking for the bill, Adam? As that's a big one.
That's a huge one. For our takeaway language, you could say, could we have the check, please? Or to sound a bit more natural for our fluency builder, you can say, when you have a moment, could we get the bill? It's just a bit more, casual, a bit more relaxed, implying that you understand they might be busy.
I love that, when you have a moment, because sometimes they are running around and you don't want to sound like you're like demanding it right away. It's just a really nice way to say, hey, when you're free, could you bring it over?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got your ketchup, you got your water, you're ready for the bill. What happens then, Sandra? It's time to, finalize everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got your ketchup, you've got your water, you're ready for the bill. What happens then, Sandra? It's time to, finalize everything. Well, Adam, once that bill is on the table, it's the moment of truth, right? So when it's time to pay, for our takeaway language, some really common useful phrases you'll hear or say are things like, can I pay by card? Which, is pretty essential these days.
Yeah, I feel like especially when you're traveling, that's such an important one because, I don't know, sometimes you just assume, right? But then, oh no, they only take cash or something.
Exactly. And then you're stuck, right? So can I pay by card? Super important. Another one which comes up all the time, especially when you're out with friends, is do you split the bill? Because sometimes, not everyone wants to pay for the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, that's a lifesaver. Because sometimes you're like, I had like a salad and they had like 3 steaks. So yeah.
Right? You're like, I'm not paying for all of that. And then I guess another one, if you're feeling generous or, maybe you just want to simplify things, you could just say, keep the change. That's for the tip, of course.
Yeah, I love that one. It's just so simple, isn't it? Just, here you go.
Exactly. Now, for our fluency builder, for sounding even more natural, there are a couple other things you might want to ask. Like, is service included? This is really important in some countries where the tip is automatically added and you don't want to double tip or under tip.
Oh, that's a good point because I think culturally that's so different around the world, isn't it? So knowing whether it's already like on there is really helpful.
It is. And then if you want to be super polite and clear when you're splitting, instead of just, do you split the bill? For our fluency builder, you could say, could we split this, please? It just, makes it a little bit more direct and polite.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I guess that's when like they'll usually ask, how do you want to split it? Or by card or.
Right, exactly. So those are your phrases for handling the bill.
Okay, so, we've gone through all these phrases, right? From arriving to ordering to getting the bill. Now, what do you say, Sandra? We actually put it into practice. Let's do a little role play.
Ooh, I love a good role play, Adam. Okay, so I'll be the customer and you can be the very friendly server. How about that?
Sounds good. I can definitely do that. All right, so imagine we're at a nice restaurant. Here we go. Hi there. Welcome. Table for 2?
Oh, hi. Yes, please. Actually, we don't have a reservation, but is there anything available?
No problem at all. Just a sec. Perfect. Right this way. Here are your menus. Can I get you anything to drink to start?
Just water for now, thank you. We just need, a moment to look over the menu. It looks great.
No worries. Take your time. I'll just be right back with that water. All right, here's your water. So have you had a chance to look it over? Are you ready to order?
Oh, yeah, we are. I think I'm going to go with the veggie burger, please. And, actually, can I have it without onions? I'm, not a big fan.
No problem at all. We can certainly do that. Veggie burger, no onions, and anything for a side with that.
Oh, yeah. I'll take a side of fries, please.
Perfect. Great choice. I'll put that in for you, and I'll be back with your order shortly.
Awesome. Thanks. Great job today, everyone. You've just learned so many useful English phrases for, going out to a restaurant. That was a lot of ground we covered, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Sandra. And hopefully, today's takeaway language with those real expressions you'll actually use, and especially our fluency builder helped you just sound so much more natural and, confident when you're speaking.
Yeah, exactly. So don't forget to subscribe and, of course, leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. What's your favorite restaurant phrase? Or maybe what's a phrase you always struggle with?
Yeah, let us know. And we'll see you next time on English Talk Podcast. See ya.